You keep waiting to feel like it. You keep waiting for motivation to show up, for that perfect song, that perfect moment, that perfect spark to push you. But listen to me, motivation is temporary, discipline is forever. You don't need to feel good to do great things. You don't need to be excited to execute. You don't need to be inspired to show up. You just need discipline. That muscle that keeps you going when the feeling fades. That mindset that says, I'm doing it no matter what. Everybody's fired up on Monday morning. Everybody's ready when it's new, when it's fresh, when it's easy. But what happens when it's dark? What happens when it's cold, when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping for you? That's where discipline lives. That's where the real ones are made. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you moving when your energy's gone. It's what gets you up when your body says no. It's what keeps you focused when your mind says quit. See, I don't need to want to win. I'm programmed to win. I don't wait to feel ready. I move anyway. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only cares what you do. Motivation fades, but discipline builds legacy. So stop chasing the feeling and start building the habit. Because when the feeling dies, the discipline keeps rising. Listen to me. Motivation fades, discipline endures. You can't build your dreams on a feeling because feelings change. One day you're fired up. The next day, you don't even want to get out of bed. That's motivation. It's emotional. It's unpredictable. It's temporary. But discipline is different. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what needs to be done. See, motivation is like a spark. It's exciting. It's bright. It gets you going, but it burns out quick if there's no fuel behind it. Discipline is that steady fire that keeps burning long after the excitement is gone. You can't live off sparks. You've got to build a flame. You've got to build something that doesn't depend on your emotions. Because if you're waiting to feel right before you move, you'll spend your life standing still. Everybody's motivated when the goal is fresh, when the idea is new. You're pumped. You're ready. You're dreaming big. But fast forward 2 weeks, 2 months, and where's that same energy? It's gone, right? Life gets hard, the grind gets heavy, and that feeling fades. That's where most people quit. They were running on motivation instead of discipline. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it because I said I would. That's the difference between average and unstoppable. Discipline keeps showing up. It doesn't care about comfort. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It creates it. When you're disciplined, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop waiting for the right mood, the right time, the right energy. You just execute. You show up tired. You show up stressed. You show up broken if you have to, but you show up. And I'm telling you, that's where champions are made. Not in the moments of hype, but in the moments of silence. Not when everybody's watching, but when nobody cares. It's discipline that carries you through the storm. Motivation will get you started, but discipline will get you finished. Because discipline doesn't fade. It compounds. Every day you show up, you build strength. Every day you stay consistent, you build character. Every day you push through, even when it's hard, you build momentum. And that's what keeps you climbing long after everyone else stops. You've got to decide what kind of person you want to be. The one who moves when it's easy, or the one who moves regardless. Because the truth is, the people you admire, the ones at the top, they're not always motivated either. They just learned how to move without it. They learned that discipline is the bridge between wanting it and getting it. So stop chasing the feeling. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop relying on motivation to carry you. Build the habit. Build the mindset. Build the discipline. Because motivation fades, but discipline endures forever. You've got to understand this. Discipline shows up when feelings don't. Everybody can move when they're motivated. Everybody can grind when it feels good, when the sun's shining, when the crowd's cheering. But the real question is, what do you do when that feeling is gone? What do you do when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when life hits you in the mouth? That's where discipline steps in. Because feelings are fragile. One bad day, one setback, one disappointment, and your motivation's gone. But discipline doesn't care about your emotions. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired or uninspired. Discipline says, we've got work to do. It's that quiet voice inside that keeps whispering, get up. It's what makes you show up when every part of you wants to quit. You can't let your emotions drive your actions. If you only move when you feel like it, you'll never get far. Your goals don't care about your mood. Your dreams don't pause because you had a bad day. You've got to train yourself to act even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient. That's where the growth happens. That's where the breakthroughs live. See, motivation gives you a reason to start, but discipline gives you a reason to continue. It's easy to chase the feeling of excitement, but greatness is built in the days that don't feel exciting at all. It's built in those early mornings when you don't want to get up. It's built in those late nights when everyone else has gone home. It's built in those moments when your body's tired, your mind's heavy, but your purpose is stronger than your excuses. That's the part people don't see. They see the highlight reels, the trophies, the results, but they don't see the discipline that built it. They don't see the hours of repetition, the days of doubt, the nights of struggle. They don't see the moments where the person didn't feel like it, but still did it anyway, because that's the key. That's what separates dreamers from doers. You've got to show up when it's hard. You've got to keep moving when it hurts. You've got to keep believing when you can't see the results yet. And the crazy thing is, the more you practice discipline, the stronger it gets. The less you rely on feelings, the more unstoppable you become. You start to build confidence, not from success, but from commitment. You start to trust yourself because you know you'll show up no matter what. That's real power right there. When your actions are no longer controlled by your emotions, that's when you become dangerous. That's when you become consistent. That's when you start winning. So stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting for the perfect day, the perfect energy, the perfect mood. Train yourself to move whether you feel ready or not. Because the ones who win aren't the ones who always feel good. They're the ones who show up when they don't. You've got to understand something powerful. Motivation will get you started, but consistency will keep you going. Too many people think success comes from those big bursts of energy, those hyped up moments where they feel unstoppable. But that's not how it works. Real success, the kind that lasts, comes from doing the small things right every single day, even when nobody's watching. It's not the fire that burns the brightest that matters. It's the one that never goes out. See, discipline turns into consistency when you decide that quitting is no longer an option. It's when you tell yourself, hey, I don't care how I feel. I made a commitment and I'm going to stick to it. You can't just show up when it's convenient. You've got to show up when it's cold, when it's lonely, when it's boring, when it's painful. Because consistency is what turns ordinary actions into extraordinary results. Think about it. Everybody wants to be great for a day, but who's willing to be consistent for a year? Who's willing to keep doing the same hard thing over and over again until it finally breaks open? Most people quit right before they see results because they don't realize how close they are. But that's where consistency separates winners from everyone else. The consistent ones don't stop to check if it's working. They keep working until it does. You've got to treat your dream like a job you can't get fired from. Show up for it every day. Put in the hours, even when you don't see the progress right away. Because progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's happening behind the scenes. Sometimes it's just a small shift in your mindset, a slight improvement in your habits, a little more strength in your spirit. But it's happening every single time you choose consistency over comfort. Consistency builds credibility with yourself. When you keep showing up, even when it's hard, you start to believe in your own word. You stop needing validation because you know your actions match your intentions. You stop relying on hype because you've built habits that carry you through. That's the beauty of discipline. It transforms into consistency, and consistency transforms into confidence. And here's the truth. The most successful people aren't the most talented. They're the most consistent. Talent can give you a head start, but consistency will always win the race. Because when you keep showing up day after day, the universe starts to move in your favor. Doors start to open. People start to notice. Opportunities start to align. But none of that happens if you keep stopping and starting. So stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to feel ready. Just be consistent. Keep moving forward. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work, even when it's quiet, even when it's tough, even when no one claps for you. Because if you stay consistent long enough, you'll look back one day and realize you became everything you said you would be. Listen to me. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Too many people think that if they slip up once, it's over. They think one bad day, one missed workout, one failed attempt means they don't have what it takes. But that's not how discipline works. Discipline isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up every single time you do. It's about staying locked in, even when you mess up. Because the truth is, every champion you admire has fallen, failed, and doubted themselves. The only difference is they refuse to stay down. When you build discipline, you're building resilience. You're training yourself to handle setbacks without losing your focus. Life is going to hit you, no question about it. It's going to throw distractions, disappointments, and detours your way. But when you've trained your mind to stay disciplined, you don't crumble when it gets tough. You adapt. You don't make excuses. You make adjustments. You say to yourself, okay, that didn't work, but I'm not done. That's what separates the disciplined from the defeated. You see, discipline doesn't mean you never feel tired. It means you do it tired. It doesn't mean you never get frustrated. It means you keep your focus through frustration. It doesn't mean you never fall. It means you never stop getting up. That's the mindset that builds warriors. That's the mindset that creates success stories. Every time you push through something you didn't think you could handle, your mental strength grows. You start to build a different kind of confidence. Not the kind that comes from winning, but the kind that comes from surviving. You begin to realize that there's nothing life can throw at you that you can't handle if you stay disciplined. That kind of belief is powerful because it makes you unstoppable. People will look at your success and call you lucky. They'll say, it must be nice. But they don't see the nights you spent fighting self-doubt. They don't see the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed when your body said no, but your purpose said yes. They don't see the tears, the losses, the frustration. But that's okay. You didn't do it for them to see. You did it because your goals mean something to you. You did it because you promised yourself you wouldn't quit this time. And when you live with that kind of persistence, something changes inside you. You stop fearing failure because you faced it enough times to know it can't beat you. You stop depending on perfect conditions because you've learned how to create progress in chaos. That's when you realize you don't need everything to go right. You just need to keep going, no matter what goes wrong. That's the beauty of discipline. It doesn't promise an easy path. It promises strength on a hard one. And if you can learn to keep going when it's hard, if you can keep showing up when it hurts, then nothing, absolutely nothing can stop you. You've got to understand this. Discipline isn't just about the grind. It's about vision. It's about knowing where you're headed, even when the path isn't clear. See, most people fail because they lose sight of why they started. They get caught up in the struggle, the setbacks, the noise around them. But when you've got a clear vision, discipline gives that vision power. It turns your dreams into direction and your direction into daily action. Every single day, you've got to remind yourself of where you're going. You've got to see it before it's real. You've got to feel it before it's visible. That vision, it's what fuels the discipline. When the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and your body says no, your vision has to scream louder. When the results don't show up right away, your vision has to keep you moving. Because without vision, discipline becomes just routine. But when vision and discipline work together, that's when you start walking in purpose. You can't just wake up every day and move without direction. You've got to have something that pulls you, a dream, a mission, a purpose that's bigger than comfort. Because discipline without purpose feels like punishment. But discipline as with purpose feels like power. It gives meaning to the grind. It reminds you that what you're building is bigger than the pain, bigger than the tiredness, bigger than the temporary struggle you're in. I've seen so many people start strong but fade because they never attached their discipline to a vision. They were working hard but not aiming at anything. You've got to be intentional. Every rep, every call, every hour, it's got to mean something. When you tie your discipline to your purpose, you stop asking, how long will this take? And start saying, however long it takes. That's the shift right there. When your vision is clear, distractions lose their power. You stop chasing instant gratification because you're focused on long-term greatness. You stop comparing your journey to others because you're locked into your own path. You start seeing obstacles differently, not as walls, but as weights that make you stronger. And that's when you become unstoppable. But you've got to feed that vision every single day. You can't just set it once and forget it. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Picture it every morning. Let it guide your decisions, your energy, your focus. Because the truth is, your vision sets the destination, but your discipline drives the vehicle. One without the other will leave you stuck. So if you want to build a life of limitless success, don't just depend on hype. Don't just rely on emotion. Lock in your vision, strengthen your discipline, and move like someone who refuses to settle. Because when your purpose fuels your discipline, there's no limit to what you can become.